Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cup number 7 of HGC Open Division North America. I am still CatPeach. The young gentleman to my side is still Murda. And Murda, we've had 2 really explosive series so far in this tournament. What are you expecting now that we're going into Necrodancers versus Divination?
Now we're talking about playoff positions on the line. Divination, we have not yet seen them tonight. They are the 5 seed tonight in this tournament, and in the standings with 190 points. So they have secured themselves a playoff spot. Of course, we know Necrodancers already had. So both these teams are now just playing for position. And if Divination's able to knock out Necrodancers, they have potential to move to that number 4 spot by the end of the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. In between, during that break, we did have a subscription from Talanasi. Talanasi, thank you for subbing here to HeroesHype, getting those sweet, sweet emotes, getting those sweet NA lulz in chat if you must. Which gives us a little bit of an opportunity to remind folks that we do have a Patreon set up that you can check out here. The link is in our panels on the Twitch page. Being able to have access to certain channels in our Discord, getting invites to special events that we have at things like Western Clash and BlizzCon. Lots more perks coming in from there, so make sure to check that out as well.
All right, so Necrodancers, Divination, we are in a lobby. We're almost ready to go. Anything you're specifically looking for here in this matchup?
We've seen quite the commanding performance coming out of Necrodancers in that last series. We saw Faye pulling out the Lost Vikings on Towers of Doom, and beautifully being able to run those 3 little boys on that map. So I think anything goes for Necrodancers, and I think Divination, although they're very close in the standings, definitely have a lot of competition to face in this matchup.
BOE, we haven't been here yet. A map that used to be popular and now has fallen towards the bottom of the priority for teams picking maps. Some teams, however, do like to bring us here, and it's actually going to be Necrodancers making that decision for map number 1. Medivh going to be banned out first by Divination.
Yeah, Medivh coming out, the ability to have Portal play to the opposite side of those Immortals in the middle of the battlefield to try to get a flank on your opponent. Definitely a risk there. Also not surprised by the Hanzo ban just being able to trunk through the health of those Immortals in that race to get that objective. So wondering if we end up seeing a Greymane pickup at some point, as they are also available to do a lot of damage in that objective.
Absolutely. The Haka will be the next ban. So both of the bans from Divination are more taking away heroes that can control team fights. The Haka can control some team fights with that drag, with that isolation. Medivh can set it up with that leyline seal and all of the Force of Wills, as well as the portal engage. So not a lot of heroes taken away that can race. The only one is going to be the Hanzo, and now first pick for the members of Divination. They have an option to move into that race here.
Yeah, and the race is really what it's all about. We're going to see the Yrel pickup to try to command one of those lanes on this map. Also very great at thwarting your opponents with that hammer to be able to push them away from the ejected if they get too strong or get too close in. So great picking her up before she is banned. The response, Blaze Diablo. Blaze going into that Yrel for that solo wave clear. Diablo, so much to follow up there. What do you pick up now if you are if you're Divination?
There's still a lot of options here. I wouldn't mind them pulling out something a little sneaky right now. They have the Yrel. They're going to go with a Whitemane and a Rainer. They're going to play it a bit safe so far. I love that skin on Whitemane. Actually going to switch it to the Redhead, even better. And the Rainer. We'll see if he wants to go into Hyperion or just the Raider. But I think if you can win one of these Immortals, having that Hyperion really enables your push and can potentially lead to some fort destruction.
Absolutely. I'm curious to see the performance of the Whitemane in this matchup. We saw it not lead to great success in our matchup between FWC Esports and Doki Doki Hots Club. with FWC falling in that game where they drafted the white main. So really making sure that she's able to get the damage needed. She can't put damage onto those Immortals, which is really important to note. So that is clear on those that she's going to have to do simply with basic attacks, which might make or break the success of those objective phases for Divination.
I like this ban on Sergeant Hammer. Not a lot of great ways to deal with her. As you see, they just have the Rainer, the White Man, the Rel. It's really tough for them to get on top. So they're going to ban it away. There's plenty of options here. Decker Kane's going to be the support. I still think they can move into something like Li Ming, and there it is. Li Ming is going to be the pick. A fantastic selection there, having the Arcane Mage. Her orbs can really chunk out Immortals in the race, and finding resets could be huge because it's a lot of damage that can go out at once if it connects on multiple heroes, and White Mane will have a really tough time trying to recoup those health bars if that happens.
Right, exactly. Li Ming being able to poke from a distance when that white main heal is going to require some kind of close encounter. We're going to see the gray main picked up for that race, and we're going to see the Anubarak to round out the front line here for Divination.
Our first look at a noob tonight, I think could get some value, especially if he can cocoon out, say like a bunker that would be opportune for Necrodancers to pull out, and it's a pretty decent counter to Li Ming, but if it's Cocoon and there's Disintegrate on the other side, then Li Ming kind of counters Cocoon. It's a weird relationship the two heroes have. Cassie is going to be the final pick in response to Rainer and the Grey Main, so blinds will be the play for Necrodancers.
Yeah, absolutely. You can never discount those blinds, especially as we talked about with the fallout damage coming out of Li Ming, with the roots and the slows coming out from Decker Kane. That is a lot of setup there on the side of Necrodancers in this Immortal objective. I'm not sure they necessarily win the race even with that Li Ming, so really focusing on taking out an opponent during those phases I think is going to be key for success for them on this map.
So map number 1, Battlefield of Eternity, our first time over here, and our first time seeing Divination over here on twitch.tv/HeroesHype tonight. I'm excited. BKP just joining this squad, going to pick up that Anubarak, and you know, they're really potential to pull off a bit of an upset here tonight over Necrodancers, at least if you're looking at the standings. They did finish cup number 6, I believe, in second place. Am I right?
It's definitely something high up in there, so they have the potential to definitely take the win over Necrodancers. I think that might have been before Faye had joined Necrodancers, but I also could be mistaken on that. But for the time being, what we do know is that we have a game on our hands. So starting off on the left, we will have Necrodancers. We will have Physicals on that Cassia, the attacker on Decker Kane, Ezreal on Blaze, Faye on Li Ming, and Huff Money again on that Diablo.
And over on the right-hand side, we have Divination. Yarel going to be played by Liam. Down here in this bottom lane, we see BKB on Anubarak, Wolf on the white main, Noah going to play the gray main, and rounding it out on Jim Rainer, it's going to be big.
Yeah, and Rainer's going to have to really focus on getting that pepper in onto Necrodancers, making sure that fourth shot gets as much value as possible. The Gen G sprays coming out in respect over here from Divination. And we see that top lane matchup exactly as we talked about. Blaze and Urel will keep each other occupied while the 4-man rotations here in bottom are simply going to rotate, capture camps, try to get any kind of advantage, any kind of pick to set themselves a little bit ahead of their opponents in the early.
This top lane matchup, definitely skill-based. We'll see what Ezreal can do. So far, Liam bodying on the GOAT. In the flank is BKB. See if he wants to burrow in. Doesn't have enough range to reach Blaze. He'll be back behind the wall, but a little bit of siege coming out as Greymane's here with Yarel. Big wave as well. And this is going to be first tower handed over to the members of Divination, and they're looking ready to rip and ready to roar. CatPeach.
Yeah, Yeah, and no response yet coming out from Necrodancers as they're focused down in the bottom lane, just barely able to get a tower from themselves, but they have their eyes set on that camp in the bottom, hoping to have that finish off that tower more safely than the 4 members of the team pushing in as well. Rotate coming out from BKB and Noah here in bottom, making sure they're able to clear that out. While Liam continues to pester on this gate, taking it down, finally pushing Blaze back all the way through the fort, but the root coming out onto Big, nearly costs them their lives there.
Just white main things, CatPeach. That's all.
Just white main things being able to barely keep Big alive for the count. Sidewalls taking out will make it very easy to pick off on that well later.
So still making this push. Copper Game that picked up bottom side is still here. The wall's gonna fall. This turret's next in line as these goats are still throwing their spears at it. It will be cleared up now by Greymane leaping forward that dark flight. But that was a tremendous amount of value that Necrodancers just found in the bottom lane, and having that early setup could play to their advantage moving in once if they can find some of these Immortals.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're still seeing the focus from Greymane on stacking that desperation, really focusing on that Q build, even with those changes. Beautiful camps, rotations coming out from both teams, making sure there's pressure going on during this Immortal phase. And this is where we see, for at least the time being, who really wins out on this race, who's brave enough to invade on their opponent's Immortal, and who ends up winning on this first objective, Murda.
So, consider me stupid, but I'm just now realizing we have a double main composition with white main and gray main.
We just need all the color mains to be in the game.
Orange main, purple main, black main, maybe Genji main as well. But here we go. Immortal phase has kicked off, and so far leading is Necrodancers. They've gotten this almost to halftime. They're on this top side, and instead up top, it's Greymane sieging down the first fort of the game, and that's going to give them a bit of an XP lead heading into the level 7 talent tier that's coming up pretty soon as they push back the members of Necrodancers. Here is Divination.
Yeah, and that is huge for Divination. Noah ends up getting flipped, but should survive for the time being. Blaze using that jet propulsion to escape. But the halftime show going readily over to Necrodancers. Divination having to defend this, hoping to try to get a pick, but Faye able to put in that damage from afar, like we talked about. The beautiful stun coming out from Liam, and it looks like Physicals is going to be the first to fall here in this fight, and now the focus is on Huff Money, making sure Diablo does not survive, but that is leaving siege damage open onto that Immortal, but with 2 down, Necrodancer is going to back away. Greymane moving over to start chunking down the Immortal on the other side.
Yeah, they're going to send Rainer as well. They have plenty of space right now. The Immortal helping tremendously in that last fight, as you saw the finish there on Cassia, who's now returning. Physicals is back here. Look at Li Ming, Faye staying in a great spot, trying to get that final poke damage, but it's not enough as Greymane and Rainer get the job done, and the first Immortal of the game will be handed over to Divination bottom lane.
And remember, they were able to get out a fort already in the top lane, so this Immortal focusing on the bottom, it really has not been prepped so much yet, but the members of Divination coming down to clear the lane and get this Immortal as close to this gate as possible, as the members of Necrodancers posturing, waiting for it to come so they can chunk down what little remains of that shield and get that Immortal into melee range.
Yeah, Immortal on this wall, and you can see how much zoning potential they're trying to pull out with this Deckard Cain. The Li Ming's trying to throw out all the orbs, but it's just not enough. A Nubrak playing up front. BKB, as I mentioned, just joining this team. Look how well he's doing defending up against all of this damage. Now burrowing forward, comboing on top of Diablo, but there's a scroll of sealing to make sure no one can continue pushing forward. Great job there by the attacker.
Yeah, and with the fort down, Divination says, we're happy with that push. We're going to back up. The Immortal is finally finished, and their eyes are immediately set on this bottom siege camp. Necrodancers, are they going to spot it in time, or is the clear going to be too fast for Divination? Just like that, just a little bit too late. Divination starting to paint this map red, starting to push these lanes entirely in their favor.
Yeah, they're going to send... Oh, Rainer's actually coming back. They're about to send him up to help with that fort, Merc camp up there. Now they are going to send him gray main, making the rotation white main as well. A Nubrak also. So all 5 members, they're going to leave that Khazra camp bottom side. And here comes an aggressive play by Huff Money, looking for something before their enemies of Divination reach level 10. Not going to find it, though, as Biggs up here on this Khazra camp and setting up in the vents are Liam and Noah. But they don't want to take anything before they're level 10.
Yeah, absolutely not. They don't want to risk giving that experience over to their opponent just for a camp that they know they can clear out fairly easily with that Yrel, with that Greymane, with that Rainer. They have the tools to deal with it, so don't risk unnecessary deaths at this stage in the game. Wait until you have level 10, then you can start being a bit more aggressive in these scenarios.
Level 10, very close camp is going to be picked up as the Immortal has been announced. 30 seconds away for that. Up top, Anubrak's going to clear out this Khazra camp. Remember, the Shaman camp will be joining in this top lane soon, and no one's up here right now. Blaze has gone down to the bottom. They're going to have to send someone eventually, and without their level 10s, now their Bruiser camp is under potential to be stolen away here by BKB on his Anubrak. He's standing there. Yrel going to jump over as well. The rest of the team members, look at them staying safe behind the wall, making sure no one can engage on top. And Bruiser Camp will be stolen away by Divination.
We're seeing Cursed Bullet come out for Greymane here, trying to focus on chunking down that beefy buff front line between the Diablo and the Blaze. And given that they still have quite a ways of a level advantage, they are not afraid to go in here. BKB going in on Huff Money, and I'm going to follow up immediately, but keeping their distance away from Necrodancers being able to touch these Immortals whatsoever.
So yeah, you saw Cursed Bullet come out, did not hit. Diablo doing a great job charging away, making sure nothing happened. Bottom side, this Bruiser camp is still pushing the bottom lane, so they're going to end up giving up a full shielded Immortal. Still no level 10s for Necrodancers. They got to find a way back in this game, potentially take a fight behind the Immortal. But here comes bottom lane for the 2nd time in a row. This time, however, with a full shield, CatPeach.
Yeah, that full shield is going to take a bit to whittle down with a mid-game Immortal coming in. So not as easy to get it into melee range there. We still see Necrodancers preparing behind their gate, not willing to fight in front of it, but BKB is lurking along with Liam, trying to find their opportunity to jump behind those walls behind that gate and maybe make a play here as this Immortal pushes.
Yeah, smart job getting rid of that sidewall. Now they have room to look at this fight as Huff Money trying to press forward, finds a stun there on Noah. BKB also getting flipped around. Lornado not pulling anything. Bunkers down from Blaze, keeping Cassia. Diablo now alive inside as well, but this Immortal is on this keep, and I don't know if they have enough damage here to get rid of it. Cassie's trying to do what she can. Physical's in trouble and falls. A fantastic job. So much value in that fight from the Scarlet Aegis from Whitemane as you see the first keep of the game fall.
Yeah, and Ardent Defender coming out from Lian, and we saw they immediately cancel the Disintegrate once it was popped, not wanting to contribute. And this Immortal is currently on the core. It should be dealt with, but not before taking down the shield and potentially some damage, unless Divination is able to get a couple kills right now, which they're trying to do. Huff Money getting incredibly low, but Divination now going to retreat as the Immortal has expired. 60% on the core, 59 here in favor of Divination, but they're now on the retreat, very close to 13. So Necrodancers trying to make something happen before that can happen, but they're not able to catch up. And what a beautiful, beautiful Immortal play coming out from the members of Divination there, Murda.
Yeah, anytime you get a full shield, it feels really good. As now they're finding their opponents on top of this Khazra camp, and they're fully scouted. This is very terrible spot for the members of Necrodancers, but Huff Money wants it anyway. There's Valkyrie, gonna pull back Rainer. He's in trouble. Lightning Breath on top of Big, bunkers down, and the Lornado pulling everyone into the fire. A quad kill for the Necrodancers as Wolf is the only one remaining on the battleground.
4 kills. Even though their opponent had level 13, showing that given the right positioning, given the right focus and the right calls, you can take a fight even at that disadvantage, and that is getting Necrodancers so close to level 13 that will put them even here in this fight. They are looking at this fort. They are going to get this fort. They're going to have to push out that top lane at some point. The members of Divination now finally spawning, but not in time to defend. They set their eyes on retreating for the time being, but this is going to make this next Immortal phase so much more interesting.
Yeah, now on even talent, almost dead even on XP. Both sides gonna pick up their shaman camps up top. Blaze getting a little extra soak and to push that wave out. But this is really the game here, CatPeach. If Divination can win this Immortal for the 3rd time in a row, there is not going to be much that Necrodancers can do to complete this comeback here on Battlefield of Eternity.
Absolutely, and Huff Bunny realizes that gets the stun onto BKB, followed by the Lightning Breath, and Anubrak is the first to go out. The Valkyrie hits onto Wolf. Whitemane ends up falling as well, and that is 2 kills already in favor for Necrodancers. Their late game starting to show after that level 13. They are able to figure out how to approach these fights, approach the damage coming out from Divination, and make sure they are focusing the right targets. They're taking out that Whitemane. They're taking out that stun coming out from Anubrak and making sure they can command these fights in a way they haven't been able to do so far in this game.
Yeah, and there we go. Halftime pushed by the members of Necrodancers. They're going to be able to get into a very favorable position for them to finish off the rest of this Immortal, and here comes Liam on that Yrel. Gonna hop in and try to disrupt this, and scared. Backing up now are gonna be the members of Necrodancers. They do not want to find themselves falling in this fight. They're up 6-3 in kills and a little bit in XP, but they gotta make a play soon because Noah over there on the opposite side working down the remaining health on the blue Immortal. Here come the members of Necrodancers looking to finish this off, and they're poking right now with the Leeming, and the safe spot is face, getting some big orbs, but there's Kirk's bullet on Huff Money, trying to finish it off is Liam. Cocoon on the Leeming, she's not able to help get rid of it, so Lightning Breath's gonna do the job. Blaze now in a good spot, but falls is Diablo. He has sold. He'll be back up in 3 seconds, and Dariel is going to be next. A double kill for Divination, protecting against the final bits, but Faye with the orb, picking up their first of the game.
Faye with the Disintegrate, followed by the Orb, just to make sure they confirmed that Immortal. They won't have their Blaze for a little bit, but this Immortal is still going to get so much value. They already hit 15 before their opponents. We're starting to see Necrodancers take a bit more control. They still have to worry about those catapults in the bottom, so they're not going to be able to fully push with this Immortal like their opponents have been able to do so far in this game. The shields fall down quickly with all the damage coming out from the members of Divination. This Immortal actually isn't going to gain them too much experience, as it hardly is able to even finish off that tower, and it goes down so quickly here, Murda.
Yep, now team's going to trade out siege camps top and bottom, but I believe this will end up favoring the side of Divination, as there are catapults in this bottom lane, which will help clear out the causers that are pushing for Necrodancers. But here comes some backs, and it appears as though they do not want to allow any sort of attempt at a keep. Both sides actually backing. Neither wants to lose a keep this late in the game to set up that win condition. So it's just going to be some free clear and really no value from either of these camps.
Yeah, for sure. It is going to get both teams 16. Necrodancers finally able to get that a little bit before their opponents, however. But like you said, no one wants to lose a keep. Necrodancers is already down 1. Divination doesn't want to lose their first just yet. And so they're going to make sure they get that clear, get that level 16, make sure they're prepared for this next Immortal, where it's going to be very interesting to see how these fights get approached. Necrodancers, if they can get the upper hand, can just so easily delete members of Divination, but at the same time, with enough persistence, Divination wins out on these fights.
Yeah, you can tell Necrodancers are trying to shark right now, but they're not anywhere close. They have no idea where the members of Divination are at. They're still hiding in the fog of war right now. I think only a Nubrak is potentially showing with some beetles up there, but here they are on top of this bruiser camp, and they're going to try to make a play at the first thing that jumps in here. They have this level 16 talent, but it's so close right now for Divination that they're going to opt just to give it up and get back in the attacking spot on this Immortal.
And there's that 16 talent tiers equal. Both teams are going immediately for the attack, trying to race here. The damage coming out from a Greymane is putting Divination a bit in the lead here for the halftime show, but it could be close. Both teams going to have to really show their stuff. I love this bruiser camp steal very quickly, knowing that they have the advantage on the side of Divination, and they go directly to the defense, knowing that they're going to have that camp pushing and should hopefully eventually call a response from Necrodancers.
Yeah, someone obviously is going to have to make a response. Bottom lane also starting to stack up some catapults. You see them pushing almost towards where that keep once was. But here comes the fight. Huff Money looking for it. Burrowing out is BKB. He's going to survive and still in this fantastic defensive position on top of their own Immortal. Divination looking really good, and pretty soon, CatPeach, both these lanes are going to be pushed back, and someone's going to have to go in response. They're going to have to send Blaze eventually, but here we go, once again, trying to make a play. Huff Money looking at a new bracket. Now BKB is isolated. Burrow on top of 3, going to get a stun. Back to safety. More NATO going to pull him back. Valkyrie pushed Urel into a wall, so she's actually going to survive, but not surviving is Whitemane. Not surviving is a new brag, and now the reset's coming out for Faye as she presses forward, looking to finish off Urel.
She is trying to find the remaining kills there. None to be found, though. The retreat full on for Divination, allowing Necrodancers to focus on that top Immortal. Blaze has finally responded to that top lane, clearing out that camp. The catapults are pushing up on that bottom lane, however, and we'll have to clean that up as well. But this is Necrodancer's chance to potentially push for bottom keep as that Immortal pushes in that top lane in this coming phase. Able to chunk down quickly. Ezreal, though, going to be occupied again by cleaning up these lanes for the time being.
Yeah, luckily he got there before those catapults locked onto the core, so he's going to protect the shields that are there, the 59% that it's already at. But this late in the game, there's always a threat on Battlefield of Eternity for your opponents to sneak past and make a play at the core when it's this low. So they're going to have to play it safe and make sure they're not getting backdoored for the rest of the game. But here they go. The Immortals here, they don't have their Blaze, and they're opting not to push with this Immortal. So once again, they're not going to find their value, and instead they're just going to drop back and clear some more waves up.
Yeah, and I don't think this Immortal's even going to take that keep down. Again, we're seeing Greymane and Raynor be able to just chunk out that Immortal so quickly that Necrodancer's hardly able to get any real value out of it. Being able to immediately rotate for Divination onto the siege camp to additionally build up that pressure to make sure that that top fort doesn't actually fall just yet, but the response camp coming out from Necrodancers as again the members have to try to defend somewhere. They're starting to get a bit the lanes pushed out in their favor at the very least, but this is no way over for either team at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you really hate to see it where these last two Immortals have been won by Necrodancers, but they just haven't had the chance to make anything happen with it. They'll be able to find some free XP. They can poke down that fort that's there if they want with their Liming, but still, as I mentioned, they have to be worried about the backdoor potential this late in the game. At any moment, the members of Divination can just start diving in, especially when they have an Anubarak who can help really set up a Greymane for success when he gets into that Worgen form.
Yeah, absolutely. Sights now seen onto Nubarak. Members of Divination going to back away from this camp for the time being. Talking about this next Immortal phase and how close we're getting to 20. This is Divination's, I feel, last shot at winning a team fight before Necrodancers hits 20, and then they have to wait until they have that talent equalization by soaking in the map elsewhere. But this Immortal spawning, I think, is going to tell potentially who wins this game. If it's on the side of Divination, that push bottom that we've been talking about is so easily accessible, but this late in the game, Necrodancers could easily push that bottom peak now that they have that camp pushing in bottom to clear it up. So it's anyone's game, and I am so tense, Murda.
Yeah, it's so tense, and really the issue right now is still don't level 20s for Necrodancers. They really wish they had it, but at this point in the game, they cannot allow Greymane to find any access to the Immortal. Is that Valkyrie connecting on Noah, but he's back to safety. He's going to survive. Ardent Defender on the front line from Urel. Going to make sure she's not taking any damage. Soaking up a lot as they're jumping on top of Huff Money, locking it home with the slowest wolf, but the bunker's there and will survive. There's going to be a Disintegrate. Might finish off Urel, but 150 health will survive. Next to go down is Anubarak, and they finally get a kill in the game. Liam so low on that Urel. still trying to retreat and pressing forward are all the members of Necrodancers up Ben, as well as that Jeff Repulsion gonna lock in a kill on Greymane.
That bunker saving Diablo's life just long enough for them to come back out, get a kill, secure a second kill. Was amazing play coming out from Ezreal here in this late game. Level 20 almost there for Necrodancers, and they have no issue chunking down this Immortal without that defense coming out from Divination. And this should be easy pickings with the death timers as high as they are. There is nothing that Divination can do at this point. They're going to have to work on clearing these lanes before this Immortal starts barreling down them.
Yeah, and I think this is really going to be the first opportunity that Necrodancers will have to push with an Immortal. Still 10 seconds for Whitemane. She'll be back up by the time this Immortal's pushing down the lane, but they're going to have a full shield this late. That's an enormous shield, and it's going to be in that top lane for the third time in a row. Finally, that fort will be falling, as there's no way that they're going to be able to defend that. But keep an eye, once again, I've talked about it, the backdoor possibilities are an option if the members of Divination want to make a move up there, or down there rather.
Yeah, it would be an interesting call. It would have been way more likely, I think, had the lane continued to be pushed out with those catapults, but Blaze has been doing an amazing job rotating down there and making sure that lane is at least pushed back to neutral. This is a very healthy Immortal now for the first time, being supported by the members of Necrodancers here. And this is going to lead for a terrifying push on top of level 20 being achieved for them. This will be the hardest defense of Divination's life here, Murda.
Yeah, the only thing is there are no minions, so this Immortal is taking all the shots right now. But they do get through the wall. There's the Valkyrie, not going to connect on anything. Physicals does not have an ultimate. Look for the Lord Nado. It's been fantastic so far by the attacker. See if he can set something up. And the defense by Blaze, if he can lay that bunker down in a great spot, it will be able to survive anything that the members of Divination want to throw. Here, stepping up was big, but missing the charge was tough money. And Ezreal, and now it's time to turn it around in favor of Divination. They're looking for this defense, but the bunker's down. BKB in big trouble on that Anubarak, as he's going to be the first to fall in the fight. Immortal on core, as the double kills here might be 3 with Liam, surrounded by a sea of blue. They're going to leave him to be on the goat as they press forward onto the core, and it definitely appears as though game number 1 will be a comeback in favor of Necrodancers.
Necrodancers facing a lot in that matchup early and mid game, able to be patient, wait it out, didn't push too heavily in that top lane. We saw how long that fort lived in that top lane because they decided to play the waiting game, wait for those late game power spikes for their team. Faye, I don't know if it's Faye or Ezreal for MVP, because that Diablo save is still something with that bunker. I was convinced Diablo was deleted. Just went in the bunker, easy peasy, no issue.
I mean, once again, we saw Attacker play Decker Kane earlier tonight. Really solid. The Lord Nados were impactful as ever. 2 kills as well to pair with all the healing you put out. But yeah, I really think Faye, fantastic job. You saw her blink out of that cocoon earlier. Physicals landed some Valkyries, setting up kills on Mr. Jim Raynor. They came back in this game that surely looked like they were almost impossible to have a chance at winning.
And that shows why Necrodancers has had as much success as they had here in Phase 2 of North America Open Division. They're able to know that even in those talent disadvantages, when they're down, they were willing to take those fights into 13 against their opponents when they had not gotten 13 yet. They are willing to put in that risk and make it calculated if it's needed. So this is going to be terrifying for Divination coming into game number 2 here, Murda.